Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our summer school live info session. We have our very special guest today, Hlompho Malapane, who's going to be joining us. And just as an agenda for today's live info session, I'm going to do a quick introduction of the European Plate Observing System because maybe some people in our audience or people watching the recording, they're not familiar with the European Plate Observing System. So I'll do a quick introduction of EPOS. And then after that, I'm going to be posing some questions to Hlompho, and then we will take some questions from the audience if there are any. And then we will wrap up so everyone can go have their lunch or do whatever they need to do. So, the European Plate Observing System is a European-wide research infrastructure that integrates data, services, and facilities to study the solid Earth. And you can see here on the map all of the countries we have a presence in Europe. And the objective of the European Plate Observing System is to connect scientists and national observatories to provide access to high quality information about the solid Earth so that we all can better understand how our Earth works through the lens of multidisciplinarity. And the amazing thing about EPOS is that we enable the combined use of diverse data sets and tools. And in a minute, I'll start talking about the diversity of that data. But we have a diverse data sets and tools and services which supports cutting edge research and innovation. And our mission is really to make it easier for researchers and decision makers to access reliable data, tools, and services so that these researchers and decision makers can better understand natural hazards, manage resources, and improve safety and sustainability for all of society. And I had mentioned before about the diversity and the diversity of the disciplines present in EPOS. And at the core of EPOS are 10 different disciplines, which we call thematic core services or TCSs. And these 10 different thematic core services are in no particular order: volcano observations, tsunami, seismology, satellite data, near fault observatories, multi-scale laboratories, GNSS data and products, geological information and modeling, geomagnetic observations, and anthropogenic hazards. And how these 10 disciplines come together, and these are actually communities on their own that have their own instrumentation, they're verifying their own data. How EPOS brings them all together is through the EPOS platform, and I have a screenshot of it here. And the amazing thing about the EPOS platform is that it's a totally open source, fair data platform. You can go there, you don't even really need an account, and you can go there and you can choose an area on the map. You can layer the insights of data or services from these 10 different disciplines on one area. And you can do this all within the platform. So we invite you all to please check that out. But I could talk forever about the EPOS platform, but I'm going to stop now so we can get into the live info session because we all really want to hear about the summer school. So, Hlompho, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about your research and what you've been working on recently, what level of research you're at, like if you're a master's student or something like this? Yeah, just tell us a little bit about you and your research, please.
Okay, thank you, Carl, and thanks for having me. I am a seismologist with a multidisciplinary background spanning geology, operations, and nuclear monitoring. And my research interests focus on understanding seismicity and its implications for infrastructure safety and hazard assessment. I originally began my PhD in South Africa at the University of the Witwatersrand, and the study was to basically on seismicity and seismic hazard assessment of the western arid regions of South Africa with a neo-tectonic perspective. And the studies were aimed at evaluating seismic risk in support of a possible expansion of the South African National Radioactive Waste Repository. But then life happened, and due to some circumstances, I had to pause the studies. So I'm now working to revive and advance this work in a more multidisciplinary approach. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. I think the topic is really interesting. One thing we mentioned even during rehearsal, as I said, it's wonderful to hear this sort of solid earth science research because sometimes we hear about geological time, and so you think about sort of the practical, implication of the research. And here you're doing something that's very present, and it has to do with infrastructure and energy infrastructure and geohazards. So it's really very impressive. And can you tell us, Hlompho, do you remember how you heard about the EPOS Summer School? Like, did you hear about it from a friend, from an email, on social media, at a conference?
Yes, I first came across the announcement on LinkedIn, and the themes immediately resonated with me, particularly the focus on research, uh, data management, and open science. So it felt like the perfect opportunity for me to strengthen my technical and analytical foundation as I prepared to resume my research.
And okay, so it sounds like there were particular things in the description of the school that really motivated you to apply. And was it because those were things you had already studied, or were they more unfamiliar things you were curious about and you wanted to learn more? Like, yeah, were you trying to reinforce something, or was it also like unexplored territory for you?
It was, let's say, exploring. It interested me because I already had this idea of reviving the work in a
Mm,
way that is expanding and advancing it.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was like from a point of familiarity, and then there was like some ingredient in the summer school that you wanted to add to your recipe to make it.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
And
Yeah.
I'm going to contextualize this next question. So, part of the application process of the summer schools, you have to present a use case, and most people choose a use case from what they're researching. And I think that was your case too, Hlompho.
Yeah.
Was there anything you did in particular to your research to make it, to prepare it for the use case? Did you change it too much, or did you add like a different perspective or something?
Not necessarily, because the case is centered around re-examining seismicity and hazard
Right.
potential. Um, it, I had to, it was more on a data-driven and open science perspective. So the idea was to explore how integrated data workflows and FAIR principles could enhance the quality and reproducibility of seismic hazard assessments. So I wanted to see how the EPOS tools uh, could be of great use.
Yeah, how you could apply them to the,
Yes,
yeah, because I think sometimes people approach it and they think they have to make their research really fit into the rubric, but sometimes it's nice to leave it a little bit open, like you said, and let the summer school come to you, like you don't always
yeah,
have to make
yeah,
it
true, true.
to try to make the research something so unfamiliar to yourself that it's like. So now that you've gone to the summer school, you did all the modules, you had the experience, and you reflect on your use case that you submitted. Now that you have all this knowledge, is there something you would change to your use case, on the other side?
Absolutely, yes. I would place a greater emphasis on building a more structured workflow for
Mm,
data sharing and documentation. Through the summer school, I learned the value of standardized metadata and open licensing in ensuring research transparency. So I would also consider integrating other, geological or geospatial data more systematically.
hmm.
And I feel like the summer school has equipped me well for that, thanks to the hands-on sessions and collaborative exercises
Yeah,
we
this
had.
this is a theme we're having. It's like I think, and we also mentioned this in rehearsal that like everyone wants to be a specialist, and it's like I want to do this most unique thing, and then
Yeah,
people after the summer school, actually, it was just like the data, the licensing, like being more
yeah,
open. That was actually the most important thing. So I think that was a big message everyone took away from the summer school. So if we have someone who's going to be in the audience or watching the recording of this and they're really not feeling confident that they should apply because maybe they don't feel skilled enough or maybe they feel out of practice, what would you say to them to encourage them to apply?
I'd say don't hesitate, go for it, apply. The summer school, the EPOS Summer School is built precisely for researchers at all stages and from different backgrounds. You're surrounded by supportive instructors and peers who are open, encouraging, and genuinely collaborative. And it's not about being an expert, it's about being curious and willing to learn. So, personally, the experience, I believe, gives you not only practical skills, but also a renewed motivation and confidence in your research journey.
Yeah, and I found your story like particularly inspiring, Hlompho, that you had a moment of sabbatical and it's like, well, what should I do with my sabbatical? Should I go to a beach? Like, no, I think I want to make my skills in this area a little bit sharper. So I think someone even in that scenario is like a perfect candidate for us. We'd be really happy to receive that application. Let me just check the chat to see if we have any questions. And
Okay,
if not, I think we can close it and we will definitely get some messaging from LinkedIn or wherever people see this recording. And it
okay,
looks like the audience doesn't have any questions. So thank you so much for your time, Hlompho, and for sharing your testimony about the summer school. We were really honored to have you, and we'll keep you updated on the 2026 cycle, okay?
okay. Thank you once again to you and the team. And yeah, all the best to prospective applicants.
Thank you so much.